Okay, what's up, everyone? I think we are live. It looks like we are. Welcome to the stream, and thanks for waiting. I'm a little bit late because I had a bit of a chaotic morning, but good to see people here. So if you're here, just say hi. Type in the chat. Let me know where you're from. I am kind of curious if you guys are from the States or if you're from, if you are currently located in the States or if you're currently located somewhere else in the world. It just helps me to know who you guys are and what kind of needs, helps me to guess what kind of needs there may be out there. Okay, so Keshev and I'm gonna need to learn how to pronounce that, but Keshev and Guy, uh, welcome to the stream. Uzbekistan is representing. Cool. I'm gonna do a quick update for my Discord server that I'm actually going live now. Office hours live now. All right. And I will be here for 30 minutes roughly, starting now. So I'm ready to take any questions that you guys have. If you do have general SAT study questions, I urge you to share your general progress, like what your initial starting score was, where you are now, and what you've done. With that bit of background information, it makes it a lot easier for me to give you more helpful advice. If you have non-SAT questions, don't limit yourself. You can just ask those questions as well. Uzbekistan, dude, what time is it in Uzbekistan? like, like, it's like I'm gonna guess it's 4:40 a.m. here. There we go. It's 5:40 a.m. That's bad, but it's not as bad as I was thinking. Okay. Um, Again, if you are just joining the stream, please say hi in the chat and let me know where you're from. Let me know if you're from the States or not from the States, because it helps me to understand some of your needs. Meanwhile, I'm just sort of trying to remind myself what I was thinking about last time. Uh, Kesha from India. What's that like? Is that like six? Because you guys are on a 30-minute stagger. So is that like 6:10 for you right now? Time in India. It is 6:10. Okay. Yeah, you can ask about anything. Just be aware with college admissions in particular, I am not what do you call it? I am not the let's get rid of these. I'm not a paid professional. I mean, I kind of am, but like I don't really focus on college admissions, so I'm not gonna know a bunch of stats like some other people may. And I might not be able to give you the best advice, but I can give you general advice. And I can also definitely show you how I would go around doing research for my own school, especially if you have any questions like that. So, yeah, come at me. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be doing Wordle for a bit. Let's do Wordle. Should I stay? Again, if I think unless the YouTube stats are glitching, I think there's 4 of you guys here. No, I think the YouTube stats might be glitching. There might be just 2 of you guys here. If there are other people joining us, just say hi. Let me know where you're from. That's name. But those give me a lot. Okay, I'll do shirt, I guess. Okay. I want to put the T here. Yeah, you can share a claims question. Claims question? Is that evidence? That must be an evidence question. You can definitely share that stuff. Ooh, that's weird. S- Stay. Stain could be one. That would put my T in the second position, which is a very reasonable guess. Um, should I just go for it? If you have a question, go ahead and share those questions. But you know what? I actually have to take a quick break, so I will be back. I will be back in. I'll be back in less than 5 minutes, guys. Just a quick break. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at your question, and the the general the general and overall breakdown of that is pretty straightforward. So let's get back into it. Basically, what you want. Let me actually just make a quick docs. No, wait, how do I do this without? Oh yeah, duh. So, uh, I mean, usually what you're gonna write, okay. So you're probably gonna use the Common App, okay. And in the Common App, I think that really there's just general biographical details and like academic record, right? So The relevant thing with the academic record is that you're gonna put the GPA in there with your stuff, but and yeah, I'm gonna just leave. Yeah, academic record is essentially your GPA, so I'm just gonna leave that. Okay, I'm gonna just have that be its own thing. And this is the part where it just feels like a form. Okay, you just sort of like fill it out. Um, you fill out, you know, basic information about you, about your parents' education. I think if you're applying for final, I forget the exact structure, but you probably add in financial aid detail in a separate application, but stuff like that. And then you fill in your academic records, and like you also like fill in like, you know, who your recommendations are from, you know, stuff like that. I'm just called all that stuff other. You just fill out the form, okay? That part isn't. It's a lot of data that you need to put in, but it's not like it doesn't require a lot of. You could do it in like a couple hours, yeah, of collecting your data and whatnot. Then there's the main essay, okay. Oh, and actually a big part of the form, which I was thinking of it as a separate thing, because this is the part that it is part of the form, but it's actually it does require quite a bit of thought, is the activities and honors. Okay. Now this is technically part of the form. But I think it's helpful just to separate this as its own like unit, because the activities is you choose like the top 10 extracurricular activities that you spent a lot of time on, that you spent your most effort on, and you saw the most like interesting results on, and you share those with the college admissions committee. Also, your honors are just like prizes that you've won. Okay, so your activities and honors are it's literally just a list, but because you're trying to condense the most important parts of your non-directly GPA related career, this can be quite labor intensive. Okay, so you have to. I recommend just writing up that initial list right away. Write up the first list right away, and then start thinking about how to improve it soon. Okay, because this just gets your brain started on what the heck you did over the last couple years of your life. Okay, so this is actually quite a bit of work if you let it be. And then there's the main essay, and the main essay, Common App essay prompts. These basically don't really change year to year. Okay, they don't really change very often, so you can just choose one of these. Okay, one of these prompts. Where is it? I think it's 650 words unless they changed anything, but I assume they haven't changed anything, so it should be 650 words. Where is it? I don't see it. But yeah, 650. Okay, so this is 650 words, and and this is something that you need to spend a lot of time. Like, it helps to finish out the activities honors, okay, before you do any of this other stuff, because this is just objective facts, okay, and the essay is more about kind of you and kind of like an interpretation of what you've been doing and about what you are or who you are. So let's just look at a couple of these prompts. Some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that's so meaningful that they believe their application will be complete without it. This is so broad, right? This is super broad. It's just like, what is the story you need to tell about your background, your identity, your interest, or your talent? You know, it's really open-ended, so that anybody can just kind of use this to write about something. You know, it could be about your background as Uzbekistan, something, your identity, I don't know, like as transgender, budding activist, an interest in finance, a talent in reading people's minds. I don't know, whatever, right? You can do this. Almost anybody should be able to write about this. Same thing with here. We learn lessons from obstacles that can help for later success. Uh, Something about challenging a belief or your idea. Um, Reflecting on someone that has made you happy or thankful. Talking about gratitude. Discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of growth, which is actually not that different from this one, right? New understanding of yourself or others. That one could be a little bit different because this part is more about for success. This is more intellectual. It's about just realization. Describe a topic, concept, idea that makes you that you obsess about, or just share an essay on any topic of your choice. Okay, so it's very open-ended, 650 words, big deal. And then supplements are actually per college. So if you have, so supplement essays are not predictable because it depends on the schools that you're applying. Every school that you apply to have their own separate supplement essays, and some of them don't have, actually most of them don't really have essays of their own. But if you do generalize about it, they do generally break down into 3 types of essays. There's the why college essays, like why are you coming and applying to my college specifically, okay? Especially if there's like a general university and you're applying to a specific college within the university, okay? That can be pretty similar to the second type, which is the why major, okay? Why college and why major can be similar. They can be kind of different though, okay? Because why college could not be why specifically the why specifically the physical sciences college in our university, or it can just be just why our university, right? It depends on, you know what, let me actually combine this together. Why college? Why major college? But like why our school? And I just want to separate that because sometimes kids don't really like clarify what they mean by college, okay? Because a college can mean a unit within a larger university, or it can just be the entire undergraduate population, and it depends on the school that you're applying to. If you're going for like more of a liberal arts kind of education experience, oftentimes it's more like a why our school, and then sometimes they will add on a separate why this particular major. Just be sensitive to the differences there, okay? And then the last thing is there's a community or diversity statement where you and this is kind of for universities that really, and a lot of the American university is kind of a classic example of this, but they do value the idea of a heterogeneous pluralistic society, and we're trying to use the university as like a training ground for democracy as a whole, right? So you want to learn about those. So you want to talk about how you contribute to your community or whatnot. So that's the overall breakdown. This is just the general shape of it, but depends on the school. Certain schools, I remember UPenn, I think Columbia and UPenn tend to have a lot of very small, short answers that you need to, like a bunch of different essays, like short responses that you need, free response questions that you have to reply to. So there's no real value in just generalizing about it. You want to go and make your specific college list and actually look at those supplements like as soon as possible. Go into College Common App, add your supplemental schools, okay? Add your supplemental schools and then look at their actual supplemental requirements. Yes, you will be writing different supplemental essays to various universities. But it's just that you can generally predict that these 3 are gonna be touched upon by many universities, even though not every single university will touch on all 3 of these. Okay, and then we have Kesha's question, and then we also had AP Tech, what's up? So Kesha's question, by the way, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to be transitioning to the members only section of this stream. So if you do have any questions, don't be shy. Just go ahead and shoot that into the chat. Also, if you are just joining us, say hi, and also let me know where you're tuning in from. I want to know how many of you guys are from the States and how many of you guys are not from the States. It helps me to figure out what time zone to be targeting. So just let me know. Here we go. Where are we right now? We have Keshev asking this question. Keshev, I'm seeing again, you don't have a source. Also, I actually recommend if you're gonna ask these questions, I recommend asking it specifically in the reading and writing section. But anyway, give me the source. That's the most important thing. What happened to yesterday's? What the heck happened to yesterday's chat? Okay. All right. So we're gonna go over a quick breakdown, and I'm just making sure there's no other questions. Okay, there's no other questions. Let's go. Hey, why can't I zoom? Okay. Student, political science course, writing a paper. Is this a claim? Okay. So it's a textual evidence question, and I'm gonna support the claim, yeah? So, in this particular case, it's UWorld, but so because I know it's not College Board, it biases me and it makes me want to change my strategy sometimes, but I'm gonna actually just, because I don't feel like the College Board would write 6 lines, okay? 6 lines before going to the claim. So this is kind of like a unusually long build up to the claim. And I'm guessing that most of this is actually not necessary because this is written by UWorld. And this is not written by, it's written by a third party publisher. It's not written by College Board themselves. So this is going to be probably not fully necessary, okay? But let's say this is a College Board question and they did actually write it for 6 lines, then the way I would approach it is I just look for characters and I try to thread them. Anyway, probably going to be unnecessary, so let's kind of skim this part really quickly. A student in a political science course is writing a paper on ethics and politics, political instability. Who the hell is Alexander? What the hell? That's not a real name. I mean, you got to have a full name. Alexander the Great? Did he have a thing called ethics and politics? Offers opinion on political instability, advice on how constitutions can be preserved. Alexander observes that different forms of government can fall in different ways. Oligarchies may grant power to military leaders during wartime, okay? But some methods of preserving order apply across all forms of government. Okay, basically, different forms of government, there's different ways of falling apart, but some solutions for order help all governments. He argues that Alexander argues. That's funny. I feel like this is kind of written in a way that's a little bit, I don't know, something bothers me about the way this is written, but I'm going to move on. That in a healthy state, comma, obedience to law must be as close to absolute as possible, and even minor infractions should not be ignored. I mean, this whole thing wasn't really that necessary. Okay, so I have a question. So I have a comment about this. Most of this stuff doesn't really interact with this sentence, and therefore, in the College Board version of this kind of question, this would definitely get edited down. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Yes, every once in a while, College Board will write a paragraph that's longer than you really need. Every once in a while, but not generally. Not generally. Which means that if you generally think that the College Board is going to write a bunch of padding just to waste your time, then you're going to start skipping the beginning of the paragraph because you are assuming that this is all useless stuff. And then what's going to happen on the real test? On the real test, you're going to miss crucial details, and then you're going to struggle when you're reading the last sentence, okay? So just because these third-party publishers like UWorld, not Khan Academy. Khan Academy is pretty good. It's very good. But UWorld and Erica Meltzer and whoever, they like waste your time by writing a lot of padding in. Do not expect the same thing to happen on the real test. It's a huge, stupid trick that the test publishers do. use on their practice tests just to make things unnecessarily hard and to teach this like dumb trick of theirs where you get to skip this whole thing and you feel like you earned all this time, but you're really just earning all this time on their artificial experiments. It's not something that you actually see on the College Board's official SAT. Okay, so be careful with generalizing from a biased sample where the third-party publishers are a biased sample. Okay, they're not representative of the real SAT when they're doing things like this. All right, so all you really need from this for this evidence is this last sentence. For this evidence question is this last sentence. You must obey the law, and you must punish minor infractions. You must punish minor infractions. Okay, so my quotation from an analysis of the book would say that Alexander believes in being very, very strict. All right, so where's Alexander believes in being very, very strict? I'm gonna look. I'm looking for the idea of being very strict. Transgression, law, that's infraction, creeps and unperceived, ruins the state. Maybe B. Destroyers, off topic, corruption. Okay, must be B. So I feel like this is kind of poorly written, but B is the one that I'm like biased towards, mainly because none of the other ones really talks about punishing small breaches of the law. Okay, we must really, really obey the law. And B is the one that feels like it's talking about that. So I'm going to fully read B first. When constructing his argument regarding the characteristics of well-functioning, okay, this is on topic. He asserts that infractions creep in and ruins the state. Okay, sure, we must not ignore this. Illustration is ideal. Okay, I mean, B is on topic, but it doesn't really fully defend the whole obedience to law must be absolute. So I feel like for UWorld, I've already done good enough work for B to be the correct answer, but on the College Board, this would not be good enough. I want to go and look for the obedience must be close to absolute. We need absolute obedience, so I don't see absolute obedience. I kind of can infer it, but I don't really see it directly. So I'm going to double check A, C, and D for anything that's closer than B. But I'm pretty sure UWorld thinks that B is the right answer. Let's look at A, C, and D. Oligarchies versus so this focus is specific on oligarchies, so it's already off topic. We're supposed to be talking about all governments in general. Health of constitutions. So destroyers is talking about something in general. I don't know if it's talking about like it doesn't specifically talk about obedience or infractions. Corruption, and this is talking about bribery, so it's all off topic. A, C, and D are off topic. B is the only thing that could work. Transgression. If you don't know transgression, you must. In this particular case, you must know transgression. You must know transgression. In this particular question, you would have to know transgression for you to get the right answer. If you didn't know transgression, there's no way for you to be confident that B is correct. There's only without knowing the word transgression, as long as you know all the other words in A, C, and D, then you should still be able to eliminate A, C, and D for being off topic, and then you'll just get lucky with B. But you would not be able to make a perfect match. Like I matched to B first, right? I matched to B first, and then I just eliminate A, C, D. You wouldn't be able to match to B if you don't know the word transgression. Transgression is very important. I would say when I teach a class, I would say I expect the top. No, sorry. When I teach motivated, when I'm talking about motivated high school juniors, I would expect. I would expect the top 20% of high school juniors to know transgression. So if you want to break 700, you absolutely need to know transgression. Okay, Preston Liu, do you retake 1550? So that question is more largely connected to what college you want to get into. So Preston Liu, welcome to the stream. Let me know what your target school is and what grade you're in, because that actually changes things as well. Um, Besides that, if you're not even a junior senior, okay, you are a senior. Well, that really depends on your target school now. So if your targets, it basically comes down to your target school. If you're in the States, that changes things, but this does make. And Preston, can you just let me know if you are in the States? Let's go with UVA median SAT score. Here we go. You are in the States. Okay. So this really does change depending on like which state you're in and the context of your particular school. But I would say with 1550 with a non 800 on the math. Okay. So this is the middle 50%. So if you got a 790, okay, if you got a 790, you would only be in the top 25% of your class, and you are, as far as I can tell with that last name, you are of Chinese heritage. We're cutting it close, man. We're cutting it close because you are in the top 25%. So I would say you're safe. But now it really depends on your GPA, and it really depends on the profile of your high school. Okay, let's say that you have a top. Let's say you have a top 1% you're in the top 1% of your class at school. I know that most schools nowadays don't rank you in class, okay? By the way, Preston, not just Preston, just generally speaking, no one has to share biographical details. It's up to you guys if you want to share biographical details, because, but just want to make sure no one feels pressure to share biographical details. Even when I ask you, you don't have to share biographical details with me, okay? Just to clear that air. But yes, that is an unusual spelling for the Ryu last name. It's extremely unusual for for a Korean guy. Going back to you though, as a Korean guy in a U.S. High school, let's say that you are in the top 10% of your high school, but your high school is famous. It's like very well known. Like maybe your high school sends like 20 kids to the Ivy Leagues like every year. Okay, honestly, if you're in the top 10% of your high school and you're at like a really well-established high school, and you have the 1540, 1550. I feel like UVA, you might be okay, right? Feel like that's a pretty strong performance at your high school. And I would strongly urge you to go to your college counselor, because if you're at a famous high school like that, your college counselor should know realistically, roughly where you should fall in, right? And then you wouldn't really need to be talking to me, actually. You could just talk to your college counselor. Flip side. Let's say you are top 10%, but you are at a general, public school and a small public school. Hang on. Dude, you're in such an awkwardly, it's honestly now you're in just like the awkward gray area territory, and there's no black and white for you. Top 5? Top 5 as in, not top 5%, top 5 in your entire school, but it's a small school. Damn, dude, that is rough. But then again, maybe you're rural, or maybe you're like kind of exurban, like maybe you're pretty far out there. Oh, dude, that really depends. Now it really depends. That changes things, dude. Where are you? Are you in California? Are you in, oh, dude, that's good. That's good. That's good, but you're in the state. Well, that helps. Dude, that's a lot of information, and now
now we're really in a level of detail that actually I'm not a professional for college admissions, so I don't feel comfortable just giving positive or negative signals. Um, but yes, right now we are layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. We're very deep. We're not in a very black or white situation anymore. We're in a very sort of like, uh, if you tweak this one thing, you might get in, you might not. Dude, I'm not an admissions professional, so I don't feel comfortable going any further with this one in particular. But just be aware that these are all factors that kind of come into play. You're in state. You're at a small school. Which small school without a lot of output, you don't usually send a lot of Ivy League students. You don't usually graduate a lot of Ivy League kids, so you're gonna have a bit of a home run with your essays and your recommendations, and maybe even your interviews will come into play because because from a small public school. The universities are not really going to know a lot about your school necessarily because they don't have a lot of record of other previous students from your school. So they're gonna rely on as basically you need to use every weapon at your disposal and build their trust that if they bring you into their school that you're not going to like flunk out, that you're not going to fail because they don't want you to be one of those kids that don't graduate and you damage their yield. So I guess honestly, going back to the SAT question for you for 1550, just to increase your confidence, I would actually recommend just taking it again because you didn't ace the math, but it sounds like you're pretty confident you could ace the math, and maybe with some tweaks to your reading approach. I don't know if you've already seen my streams or not, but if you haven't, I urge you to watch my streams and watch how I solve the questions, not the explanations for why question 13 is right or wrong, but specifically the way that I get the questions. Just a couple tweaks, you might be able to get a noticeable jump in your score, and just with maybe less than 20 hours of effort, right? So if you can keep it under less than 20 hours of effort, then I think it might be worth it just to take the SAT one more time. While also 20 hours, hang on, it's already November. There's not a there's you're doing a bunch of other things. Maybe okay, if you could keep it under 10 hours, of prep time for SAT, that might be worth it. But obviously you have a bunch of other things. You probably have extracurricular and leadership things to do, so there's probably a lot of other priorities. So it's a balancing act. So minimize the amount of effort on the SAT, but if you believe that you can get a higher score, then why not? Why not? Yes, you can. So going back to I don't know how to pronounce your name, but can you make an impressive honor activity? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. For college essays, example of a narrative shift. Narrative shift. Hang on, let me try to remember what people mean by that. Narrative shift. By the way, guys, I am now well into. I need to actually transition to the paid, to the members only, to the paying members only section of my stream. So I'm going to move over very, very soon. So I'm going to do a quick rapid fire set of answers. AP Tech is making a couple comments here, but yes, trade-off scenario for sure. Smash Ultimate is asking about narrative shift. It's a little bit broad, but there are multiple shifts that you can use in narrative. You can use shifts. I'm going to guess that usually when we're talking about narrative shifts, whoever you were talking to when they were talking about narrative shifts, they were probably talking about shifts in time. So they're probably talking about starting with like a scene that's like last Saturday, then doing a flashback to last year when you were trying out for the varsity team for curling, okay, and then you go back to, and then you shift back at the very end to last Saturday one more time. So that would be an example of a narrative shift from what I can imagine is what your whoever your teacher or whoever that was talking about. But there are other examples of narrative shift. It doesn't have to be in time. It could be in place. I can literally be in just. It can literally, if you're extremely creative, you can be in character. You can change characters, and you can change. I mean, you can change modalities of like the ways that you're using the verbs. You could start going into imperative. There's a lot of things you could do with narrative, so it doesn't mean only one thing. Yeah, just again, rapid fire, AP Calc, aced SAT. Hell yeah, dude. General rule: always seek challenges. Always seek challenges. Okay. And with narrative structure, yeah, I mean that's not; those are two different concepts smashed. So I can't really. That question doesn't really compute. So I just can't answer that question. It doesn't really make sense to me unless you elaborate on that. Okay, and that's the end of my. Actually, I have one more thing. Yes, the last two questions together. You qualified for the IMO qualification, second stage. I mean, that's still, you should still stick that in, man. That's still, maybe you are under resourced. There's a general context, so I would still stick that in. Yes, you can be impressive because context matters, dude. I mean, just to use some stereotypes, if you're like hunting for your own, okay, I don't want to use, this is not a stereotype, just to be completely exaggerating. If you're like hunting for your own food, and you're drawing water from the well, and by the way, you qualified for the regional math Olympiad. What the fuck, dude? You're like a genius. You know what I mean? So it's like conversely, if you're like the wealthiest person in the world's son, and you qualified for the regional math Olympiad, but you didn't make much with it, and you might have cheated. It's not that impressive. So again, context matters. So please just figure out your story, figure out the most impressive parts of your story, and then share that with your college admissions officers. Now I'm going to move on to the members only portion of office hours. Thanks everybody for joining. And if this video has been helpful for you, please hit that like button. If you want more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And if you want notifications for future times when I go live, I am intending to do 2 live streams per week. One for the international time zones and one for the US time zones. The one I just did today is for the US time zones. So I'll see you guys next week. Or if you are a member, if you want to support me as I build out better content regarding the SAT and English in general in the future, consider subscribing. Consider joining my channel memberships. You'll also be able to continue talking with me after the break. Okay. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Until next time, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace.